Welcome, everybody. Welcome.
Greetings,
welcome,
greetings,
welcome.
greetings.
Y'all already know where we are. We've been doing this for a while now.
Mhm.
But you are on here to help you on my TCN TV. Tuesdays every night or day, afternoon. It's night now because it is dark at like 5. But anyways, afternoon, I guess, from 5 until 6 o'clock.
Until we hit 6, and then it's even.
But technically, like at 5, it's like night now.
But it still is an evening in their books.
I know. I was just trying to cover up my mistake. Leave me alone, Dave. Jeez. So, everyone, I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you now. I'm off. Okay, this weekend was wild. I haven't had a weekend like this in years. What are you doing, Dave?
I'm doing my duty and sharing, of course.
So, apparently, I'm having a conversation
with just yourself?
Today.
No, she's definitely not. I'm still
With
working.
my viewers. Okay,
We're working. We're working, man.
So, today, you know what? Like, I wanted to do something today that, you know, what we excel at, something that we can actually, what our skills are, we can actually really give back to the community, like what we do best. Because we go into homes, here to help you. Here to Help is all based on our company, Here to Help, which goes into homes, and we work with families on numerous things.
Yes.
Today I asked Dave actually how he described the company, because this is like a year and a half that he's been like kind of implemented into the company. We thank you for your work. We do. Oh, it's like,
thank you. Shout out to Travelers.
And he volunteers his time. No, and it's awesome because, like, again, even that, the fact that you volunteer time to go to the community and teach is a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Well, it is a passion.
So we thank you for that.
It's definitely a passion. You know, it's something that I've always wanted to do. Right. There are times, of course, you know what, we definitely have our role in life, right? We know what we want to do, so what we want to do. But sometimes life steers us in a different direction for a little bit.
Right.
Right. So I'm here. It's been a wonderful ride so far, right? And we're just going to continue to get better at it. So
what's your thoughts about a program like ours? And this is all leading up to something. Believe me, guys, you will see. What are your thoughts about this, about the program itself?
Well, I didn't know I was being interviewed today, but thank you.
Just go out now. Jesus, have mercy. And if you guys have any questions, thank you, Jordan. Jordan, thank you. Jordan has just put up the number. Again, this might be a topic that I'm sure we might get some phone calls. I'm hoping so, because it's about your children.
Yes.
I'm going to leave it there. For those who have children, this show is for you.
The future.
It's our future.
Yes.
It's the people who are going to carry on our legacy we want them to.
That's correct.
So, again, what is it about our program that you find unique?
Well, on paper, and I mentioned this earlier, right? On paper, it's education geared towards enhancement, right, or progress, right, within the curriculum compelled by the schools, right? However, though, we do so much more than just educate, right? We, in some senses, we are a nation building corporation, company, you know, collective, right? Yes. Because, of course, when you have father, child in a household, it is a nation. Right? Whether it's, of course, the mother just in the home, right, and the children, by means, it's still a nation. Right? And each family, it was written by Chancellor Williams at one point in time that said each family should consider themselves as a nation, a small nation. Right? So, of course, when a teacher, you know, such as ourselves, we should be deemed in high respect, right? For the simple fact, of course, yes, we assist in that nation building process.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
We also look at it in regards to, of course, once again, traditional values where we involve the parents in what 100%. We do. Right?
They're so important. Parents, you are so important in your child's life. We're going to go into some things today.
Of course. Yeah. You know, it's so important that whole circle, that whole cycle is involved, especially with the children's education or future in this case. Teacher, parents, of course, grandparents, other teachers, right? Other, of course, study groups, right? This is a whole collective, right? At one point in time in traditional Africa, we're looking at, for instance, now age groups or peer groups at one point in time, right? Now, of course, we have grades, right? And, of course, now we have teachers, whether teachers in the school or, in this case, what we do, teaching outside of the school, right? So that's very important in regards to the aspect of what we do. Of course, we do provide that whole mentoring aspect, right? There's a level of course, friendship as well with the children.
And it's unfair because sometimes in school, children don't get that.
It's
right?
true. Yeah.
And it's again, this is not the teacher's fault in any way, shape, or form. It's just the way that the system's been set up. You have 25, 26, sometimes 30 children in front of you. You can't be friends with
all
everybody.
Of them. Of course,
it's impossible.
It's so, and yeah, it's so true, right? And of course, one point in time, that's what the teachers were fighting for, and in regards to reducing class sizes,
yes.
right? But at the same time, the teachers, if you look at their salaries, right, in comparison, of course, to a lot of other professions, right, you can see the discrepancy there.
Absolutely.
Right, for such an important role.
Very big role.
Right.
Teacher?
But, yes. Right. But at the same time now, of course, the way the system is run now, right, you can say some parents don't like the efforts that some of the teachers are giving.
And to play devil's advocate, sometimes the parents don't understand what the teachers are dealing with, because
Exactly.
sometimes the teachers are just dealing with the system that controls them. So they can't, it's that like, but this is why it's so important that the community comes together.
Right.
And works on this, because the system is what it is.
Yes. Right. And there's no foolproof overnight, anything overnight that's going to go ahead and overthrow that system right now.
But we can adapt.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to teach parents how to do today,
There we
is to
go.
adapt to the system, because you can't fight it, so you're going to have to adapt to it.
There we go.
It's the highest form of intelligence, is adaptation.
Yes.
Right? And many of us don't adapt.
True.
So, no, but today this is what we're going to do. We're going to provide a little bit of background on when you get that report card. Everyone remembers this report card. Anyone who went to school in Ontario knows this report card. We're going to go through this. I'm seeing like the crosses with this. Trust me, I know. Like all of us are just like, are you serious with this, Simone? Yes, we are going to break down this report card today, because it's important. I think sometimes parents don't understand, and there's a lot of writing on there. You don't want to go through it. So we're going to break down what you should be looking for in this. Because in a way, again, it takes the parents. We're going to go into all of that today.
Yes, we shall.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with the fact that most of us, in different countries, of course, for people watching it, this type of report is called something different. For us, we call it, in Ontario, we call it the elementary. There's an elementary progress report card and a high school progress, right? A secondary progress report card, right? So there's just, but basically they look at the same things. And what I find interesting is that if you look at someone's report card, I'm going to take myself, for example. I have all my report cards. My mother, God bless her soul, has kept every single one of my report cards.
It's true. I've seen a couple of them.
All of them. Junior kindergarten up to like my master's year. Like she has every single thing, and she gave it to me the other day, like, take this. I'm like, all right. But I went and I looked in it, and I looked at that person.
Right.
And she hasn't changed. But a lot of things were implemented in those early years. Those what are they called? The learning years? The informative years.
The formative years.
It is from 3 till 6, parents, is a very important time to implement those things that you want them in your children, whether good or bad, unconsciously and consciously, because it happens, right? There are things that you are implementing into your children at a very young age, and you have no idea that you're doing it, which is why, again, it's so important that we as people need to be very aware of self. Okay?
There we go.
I find interesting. We'll talk about this. We'll talk about this, and then we'll go into the report card stuff.
We got time.
That, you know what? Sometimes parents will pick out a flaw in their children. And I'm trying to be nice and, like, not be feisty in people's home. But it's like, where do you think they learned that trait from?
Right.
They patterned it. We learn from what we see.
That's correct.
So if there's something you're pointing out in somebody, especially when it's one of you, it's something that you have raised, you may want to take a look at yourself. I know this might be a little harsh for some parents, and for most people, no one likes looking at themselves, especially those things that are not nice.
It's tough. It is tough.
But it's better that you do, because, again, at the end of the day, you're going to help your child. Like, remember, you are the nation building,
right?
And you don't want your nation to be weak and faulty. If there's things that are not solid, you want to make sure you
establish that foundation.
Get that foundation strong.
That's correct.
That's just like,
But keep in mind this as well, right? Us as a people, we've been in survival mode for so long.
I understand.
Right.
Of course, that other side,
we've been in survival mode for so long.
Absolutely.
Right. Where now, you know what? We've continued to do the things that we need to survive, right? And in some sense, there's an expectation just on the child just to do well because of that expectation, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to now, of course, you know what? once again, going back to that traditionalist, right? Where it is a collective, right? So it is hard. It is hard.
Yeah, it's tough, but today we are definitely going to bring some light to what needs to happen. We're going to do our best, and this is why we want you guys to call in if you have questions. There are going to be things on here that we're not going to be able to go through everything. We're going to go through as much as we can. We're going to get as much in, but please feel free to call in, or if not, you can always send us a message, leave a comment. We can get back to you, Dave.
With upon the Facebook. The Facebook.
So, like, he's there. Like, please send any questions you have. This topic is important for everybody. So let's get it started, people. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
When you know your purpose, you know your function, because the function dictates the purpose. It's not talking about what color this thing is. Life is about a function. And only when you function do you see purpose. This is where we live, just here. What we think. We miss the human when we just focus on the black of the hand or the white of the palm. But my goal in life is to get people to understand your function. Let them feel their love. Let them know you. Let them know your struggle. So when we talk about community, it's talking about coming together, unity.
Discover the incredible India.
Countdown. Like Jordan's countdown is ill. It's like a
there's a rhythm in
4, 3
wow
2, 1. So it's awesome. I have Boyz II Men in the building. That's awesome. Wasn't that Boyz II Men who did that?
Yes, it was.
That's what it sounded like when he did his countdown. Go on with it. Do that countdown going forward, Jordan. So let's dive into this progress report. Cringe. If any of you are out there watching it, some of you are probably coming home from work, so I know a lot of people are probably not going to catch us now. But we are going to put it out. We are going to put it out. So if you do get a moment, and this is very important for you and your children, pull out this report card. We're going to go through it and talk about what you should pay attention to and what you can do in the home to fix some of these things. So
there we go.
Let's start at the very beginning. At the very beginning, so the very first sheet, let's talk about this. The very first, there's 2 pages to the elementary progress report that we're going to look at. Mm-hmm. Your first page is always behavior. This is important. This is the part that you need to pay attention to, and I'm going to tell everybody why. Think about people who you like. Usually there's very positive traits about them, and in life, you'll always do a little bit more for someone that you like.
Right.
Like bump a grade. Now, if there's some yucky traits about someone, the traits that you're just like, oh God. And let's say that person worked for you or something like that, or, like you have some type of seniority or anything like that. You're more likely not to, treat them very nicely. Like you will drop their grade. I hope that was clear.
Yeah, I'm sure that it happened to a few of us out there.
It's happened to all of us
as
adults, and clearly, guys, I'm telling you where this starts, as children.
Right.
Like it's very hard to be an objective person. Teachers are always going to have children that they like, and it's usually the children who are doing what they're supposed to do and not the ones who they deem as troublemakers.
Right.
Again, teachers don't have the time to learn about everyone's life. They don't.
Nope.
So again, I'm not here picking on teachers today because I understand your issues. I have friends who are teachers. I know it's not easy, right? But okay. So that's the first thing. The second sheet is all the marks. And again, that second sheet is second for a reason. This first sheet is very important. The categories are responsibility.
Yes.
Organization. independent work, collaboration, initiative, and self-regulation. Now, mind you, whoever developed this actually is interesting, because if you look at your life, you are judged on all of these throughout the rest of your life.
That's correct.
This is what either makes you a success or a failure.
Yes.
Which is why this first sheet is so important. Right. So we're going to split this up a little bit. I'm going to take responsibility. No, organization. You go first. You're taking responsibility.
You want me to go first?
Go on with it.
Thank you. Responsibility. So on the sheet, it reads, fulfills responsibilities and commitments within the learning environment, completes and submits classwork, homework, and assignments according to agreed upon timelines, takes responsibility for and manages own behavior.
You can get either an E for excellent, G for good, S for sufficient, or N for
needs improvement.
Needs something. So, the ones you should be concerned about, obviously, in that is if you see N's and S's, you have a problem.
Yes. That means the child either feels like doing it sometimes or simply is not doing it. And, and that can be for various reasons, right? I mean, some of the students that we do work with, of course, they are, of course, they weren't born here.
No.
Right. So, of course, for them, this is all new in regards to learning the English language.
That's right.
Right. So, of course, there is some difficulty there with that respect.
Yes, but when it comes to the behavior aspect, it might be the learning aspect. But I hear what you're saying, because sometimes, again, sometimes
they can go hand in hand.
Yes, they can.
They can.
Because not being able to speak, that frustration, being in a new place.
I'm just not doing it.
You never really know how someone's going to react to that,
Correct.
right? So there's a lot of adjustments that's going on. So yeah, sometimes that can affect their behavior, right? If you don't get something and you're frustrated, you're not going to do it. Who wants to do something that's hard, especially when you're a kid? But this is, again, where we have to work on.
And, of course, being responsible.
Okay, so parents, what can they do?
Okay, so here's something that I tell my students, right? Use their agenda. And if they don't have one, buy a book.
Parents, check the agenda. If they don't have one, most schools have agendas, but if they really, really don't, buy them one.
Yes.
Dollar store. You don't even have to spend a lot of money. That's one of those gifts. We're going to talk about gifting.
Of course.
And a great gift would
buy
be an agenda. Do you know how again, parents, this is you modeling this behavior. So here's an agenda. We are going to use it.
Exactly. Right. That way, once again, the modeling the behavior, modeling the responsibility. Right. I found this interesting, especially in regards to, of course, maybe teachers can use this. If not, of course, parents can possibly use this in the home as well. But a behavioral chart.
Okay.
Right? Where it's, of course, do you have homework? You see them witnessing, of course, completing their homework, right? Of course, they get a check, right? Or a sticker, however you want to go ahead and put it, right?
Yeah.
Right? And, of course, if it's not, then by means, of course, something else goes on there, right? And if they don't do it, by means, consequences. Have to follow through with the consequences, right? There's this article that was floating online the other day, how Steve Jobs and as well as Bill Gates, they've either limited or their children had no tech time, which is amazing.
I want to say that right away. You want to really hurt your children?
Of course.
Take away their iPad. The type of chaos that happens when you take an iPad from a child.
What? For us back growing up, it was, of course, they took away my Atari.
Wow.
Yes,
so
I could say that because yeah.
If you understand, if you're shaking your head like, yeah, I have an Atari, you're old. Okay.
Right.
Just saying.
But of course they have to feel it, right? You cannot
have to. Hit them where it hurts.
Exactly.
iPad hurts.
Of course, right? Sometimes you need to feel the pains in order to go to feel the pleasure later on, right?
It's true. Because when they get it back, they're happy, you see.
Right. Third, that is, maybe sit down with the child, right? And really define what is responsibility to them. Right?
Show it.
Yeah. Define the characteristics. Go through it. Sometimes responsibility isn't just completing your homework, right? It isn't just, of course, handing the assignments in on time, right? But, of course, you know what? By means, like, sit down, have that conversation with the child. Find out what's going on, right? And if not the child, schedule the parent-teacher meeting on a one-a-ways, right? Go in there and say, listen, you know what? How is this modeled in the classroom? Right? What type of lessons?
Ask some questions, parents.
Yes.
Take that time.
What type of lessons are being taught in the classroom regarding responsibility? Is there a flow chart up there so it's visible, right? These are some of the things that need to be asked.
These are the things that we tell our parents to ask, or we go in and ask for them.
Right.
Because it's sometimes, again, our families don't.
Exactly.
They don't speak English well. If you're not from here, to ask some of these questions, it's very difficult, right?
Because they won't, it's not second nature. It's not even first nature to go in and ask something like this.
No, of course not. And also with busy parents, you may not be able to get into a parent-teacher interview. Let's be real, in this day and age, by the time you come, if you're driving in Toronto traffic, you aren't reaching no school. Who are you fooling?
It's true.
That might be a phone call, but it's an important phone call to make.
It's, you know what? You can still have that meeting.
Schedule
whether
it.
it's face-to-face or a phone call, right?
Yes.
It's still a meeting.
And again, for the parents, it's showing your responsibility to the teacher. The teacher's looking at you as well.
Right.
Right? So if you're taking that initiative, which you haven't got there yet, but if you're doing that, if you're responsible enough to say, okay, I've noticed this in my child, even like ask them, what do you suggest?
Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure there's countless of resources online regarding, of course, different types of lessons which are out there, right? Which parents can go ahead and do with their children,
yes.
right? By means, hit us up, you know, I mean, whether it's through the Facebook, send us an email.
Send us an email. You can find
call us, you know. We can definitely find some as well.
Help you out there.
Yeah.
Let's go through this because we have a lot. I didn't realize we're not going to be able to cover this all in one show. There's going to have to be a part 2. We might have to do a second part to this because I don't think we're going to get through all of it.
Man. It is what it is.
Let's start organization. We're not going to finish it in this session, in this segment, but we will continue with it, okay? So next on your checklist is organization. This one's fun for me. Okay. So for organization, they state devises and follows a plan and process for completing work and tasks, establishes priorities and manages time to complete tasks and achieve your goals, identifies, gathers, evaluates, and uses information, technology, and resources to complete tasks. So basically, how does a child set up their environment? This is what this section is about. Mm-hmm. How do you organize? How do you set up your life if we move this into adulthood?
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Classic from my parents. I'm going to say this because we're not going to have time to go into this. I love when my parents say to me, Simone, one of the things I really want to work on my child with is they are so disorganized. I am fed up of the disorganization. I cannot take it anymore. I'm like, I feel you, I'm going to come visit. We'll sit down and talk. And I walk into the home. If this hurt you, it's you. If it hurt you, I'm sorry. I'm being honest in saying all this, saying this. Parents, you are the models. So you're going to have to work on some stuff on yourself as well with this.
Right.
Organization starts at home. We all need to learn somewhere. It has to happen. If you're not organized, your children will not be organized. But I'm going to show you how we can all learn to organize together when we get back. See, I'm not going to just diss you and leave you hanging. I'm going to help you out. Hi everybody, welcome back. I feel terrible.
Why?
No, during the commercials, because I don't think we're gonna get through all of this. There's a lot I want to share with the community. There's a lot I want, and
we'll still be able to go in and share a lot. I mean, by means, of course, you know what, we do have I mean, as you can see,
notes for y'all. We went in because we want to help you guys. We have to build together. It takes a village to raise a child.
Right.
We are going to continue to do that. We are villaging here.
Nation building, find me.
Villaging. Why you have to come top me with nation building? All right, so all right. Organization. So some stuff you can start doing at home together. And something I'm going to say really quickly before I start going through this. Anything we discuss here, guys, I want you to understand it's impossible to change overnight. I'm not expecting you guys to if you try to wake up tomorrow and start doing some of this stuff, I'm going to tell you now you're going to fail. And that's just because that's not how behavior works, okay? Like, you need to take your time. If you can start doing these things one at a time, implementing it once a week, at least making the effort to, it's going to take some time, but make the effort to make those changes. That's all I'm going to ask you guys to do. Do it in your time. Don't feel forced, okay? So, checklist. The good thing about these type of things like checklists and the check-off board is that this is something that, again, as a family, you can do together. Like, make it creative. Like, buy a Bristol board and you guys decorate it together. It may take like an hour, but call it family time.
Yep.
Like that type of stuff away from the technology for 1 hour. We can all do it for 1 hour. It's just, you have no idea how that will help your child. Just here on the inside, knowing that they have that. You know, everyone can get in it too. Even if you have a big family, everybody from father down to pick-me. Let them all. Sorry, no pick-me.
No pick-me. No pick-me.
The youngest boo-boo.
Children.
Okay? Everyone can take a piece of glue, stick on something on the board, and you have something you guys can do as a family.
There you go.
Assign chores. You can use the same Bristol boards for chores. Like the older ones, you have chores. Sorry. Especially if you're the oldest and feel sorry for you. You have chores to do. And I think it helps with the responsibility aspect.
Right.
This is what you have to do each week. Get it done. Parents, another thing, if you have a lot of children and a lot of them are a little bit older, you know how much easier your life is going to be? You wash the dishes. You sweep the floor. You two, knuckle one and knuckle two. Take out the garbage. Your life is breezy. You're sitting back chilling. You know, well, chilling, you know what I'm saying? Because you probably have other younger children too. But,
right.
You know, make it, and again, even if you're doing it as a family, it's wonderful. Getting ready the night before. With organization, I'm going to tell you, this is the one thing that I have failed at. And every time I don't do it, my next day is chaos. So the 5 Ps, I want everyone to write down the 5 Ps. It's very important. And there's different versions to this.
Say the one that you know.
The one I know is prior, preparation, prevents, poor performance. Again, prior, preparation, prevents, poor performance. If you organize yourself ahead of time, your mornings flow like butter.
Yes.
Telling you. All right. Homework supply box. So gifting. Sometimes we get into this buying gifts like candy and chocolate and, you know, games. And you know what? Gifting can be like in a way that you're organizing and structuring your child for better. So get them like a homework supply box.
Yes.
That's always filled with like pencils and pens. And again, these are things that are economic. Dollarama people. Dollarama. If you're in another country, there must be a dollar store. Go to the dollar store. Get pencils and pens. Put it in a little box. Put it in their study area. We're going to talk about like creating a study area for your child where they know that's where they go and they do their work when they come in. Like, we'll get there. Cook together.
Yeah.
You have experience with this.
Yeah.
Do you know what that does? Mind you, the food is on point now. Thanks, Mom. Go on.
Yes, we'll never go hungry.
Never, because you cooked with your mom.
Right.
Your mom said, Tande,
yes,
all of you guys.
Every last one of us.
And cook and help with the cooking.
Of
but
course.
It's a bonding experience.
Yes, you know, and I remember, of course, learning how to bake, right? I remember how that was a family experience.
And it's something. See, look at this. Look at the smile on your face.
Right. It was a family experience. Of course, you can't front on that.
This is why that's important.
And you know, and in fact, for the child to be involved, you know, at such an early age, right? Who knows what will pan out later as well, right? I mean, the joy, of course, of preparing meals, right?
And again, if they can cook from an early age, parents, do you know how easy that makes things? Because they can help you out with the younger ones. Like, go put on some mac and cheese, bro. Go
season the chicken.
Go season up some chicken. Make some pasta. Make a salad.
Right.
Cut up those things. Boil some lentils. Get it together.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So these are some of the things. And of course, with everything, when you have started establishing things and you see your child doing something, reward them. And again, it doesn't have...
I think we got a caller.
Caller, hello.
We'll see.
I think we have a caller.
I think so.
Well, we'll continue until it's confirmed.
Yes.
So, reward them.
Yes.
And for yourself, parents, reward yourself. A reward to yourself can be whatever it is. We have someone who wants to... Oh, hello? Hello?
You're Honda here.
You're not on the air? We're trying to figure out how to get you on the air.
Don't worry, you soon get Honda here.
You'll be on the air soon. Don't worry. So, reward yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? When we've talked about rewards, it's not just for the children. Parents, if your children are making benefit or making progress, that's you too. So you got to reward yourself.
Yes, yes.
Right? All right. Next is...
independent work.
All right.
All right. It's defined here as independently monitors, assesses, and revises plans to complete tasks and meet goals, uses class time appropriately to complete tasks, follows instructions with minimal supervision. Now, this one's a little tricky because, of course, you know what? Some children, you can just leave them alone and by means, and they'll go off to go do the work, right? But, of course, some of us don't have that type of attention span, right? It's just how it is, right?
Always moving. But they can still listen. They can still work independently.
Right. We want to find out definitely if, once again, the learning centers or learning stations, right? Independent working stations where a child can go off into a corner, whether it's read a book, surf the net, whether it's, of course, looking at news or science or whatever it is for homework, right? But, of course, that counts as, of course, as working independently, right? You also want to find out what type of resources are available outside of course, the computers, and outside of the book, right? In this case, of course, the greatest resource inside the classroom is, of course, is the teacher.
Of course, yes.
Right? Once again, this comes down, of course, to asking questions, setting up that face-to-face or a phone meeting with the teacher. How can we do this better, right? So that he can now begin or she can now begin to do things, as warranted, right? That's going to bump up his mark, the behavior, right?
Can I throw in something for the independent work?
Go ahead.
Do you mind? I know you probably have a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But modeling again
Mm-hmm.
at home, because we have to take this back to the home,
Right.
Because then the child's coming back home.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I do, and I know you do sometimes, is with our students, let's teach them how independent work looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I give them a task to do. I open my book, I get my pen, and I get a book, and I read, and I take notes. And we may chit-chat, but when I'm ready to go back to work, you have to go back to work because I'm not continuing this conversation with you because I'm working. So should you.
Yes.
Modeling. So something else that as parents, a lot of people are like, I have work to do. Get your work done.
Right.
You still can get a lot of work done, even if it's looking over your taxes.
Uh-huh.
Do it with your child while they're doing their homework.
Yeah.
Right? Teaching them how to be independent workers. Everyone's doing something, but we're doing it as a unit.
Right. And also encourage the child, your child, right, to have that conversation, that open conversation with you. If the child is struggling, and in this case of doing this independently, by means, encourage the child to say, listen, you know what can we do together,
yes.
right? Get a journal.
Gifting. Here's another great gifting idea.
Get a journal, right?
Yeah, man.
Have them write in the journal. Okay, what difficulties are you, even if it's, of course, the successes, by means, of course, we have to celebrate the successes,
always.
Right? And I think, of course, the successes should go in the journal. But by means, especially when it comes down to the difficulties, and sometimes as children, we just can't go ahead and express it.
But we can draw it.
Yes, or, of course, by means, some of us are better writers.
We'll write it.
So
yes.
we'll go ahead and write it, right? And, of course, by means, have this something where it's daily, bi-weekly, weekly,
Again,
set
start
up
early.
the routine.
Make it once a week.
Start a routine. It'll help. It definitely will help, right? Outside of course, the learning journals which they have in school, where they have to take the story and do the recall, it the retell, right, and the relate, right? But by means, a journal is a wonderful way to go ahead, right, and keep the lines of communication open with your children.
That's right. And it's going to get to a certain age. We're sorry, parents.
I ain't writing no more.
Forget the net writing. They don't want you in their business, or they may have two journals. But the idea is that they are writing. They're finding a way to express whatever that is, or draw, again, because people express themselves different ways.
That's right.
2 ways that we see the most is writing and artwork. I can sometimes tell exactly what's going on with a child because sometimes some of our students leave us notes.
Yes.
And they don't do it purposely. I think some of them do. But like just little things, you can figure out a lot what's happening with a child, what's going on and what they're writing. Even in their notebooks, parents, look at your children's notebooks. Another great indication as to what's going on in their world. There's things you don't know, but if you're paying attention, you can catch everything. When we come back, we're going to attempt to get through the rest of these. See everyone soon.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Hi, everybody. How are you? Welcome back. Welcome back to Here to Help You. If you're just tuning into the show now, or if you have been watching it, thank you. Today, we're talking about progress reports, and we're talking about how to join together as a community.
Right.
Kind of giving you guys a backsplash of what we do at Here to Help as well when we work with our parents and covering these type of things. One of the most distressing times that we've noticed with our parents is when they get these progress reports.
Right.
There's a lot of anxiety with this because sometimes parents just don't know what to, or they're frustrated, right? So I usually sit down with my parents and I'll go over it and let them understand exactly what's happening in these reports and what they should be looking at and what we need to change, if we need to make changes. So we're going through today. We realize we're not going to be able to cover everything. It's just too much. So what we are going to do, we were discussing, is we're going to go over collaboration and self-regulation. We're going to finish with that. And the topic of initiative, we're going to turn that into another show where we're talking about teaching your children how to be leaders. Because we actually have a program where we're teaching some of our students leadership skills, right? How to be leaders and how to present. I'm working on with one of my students right now. He has a presentation today, or he had it today, and he's having one Thursday.
Okay.
Where I had to teach him how to speak, like stand straight,
Right.
Speak out. Don't stare. Don't hold your paper like this. So we're gonna save that for a completely different show. I think that'd be
that'd be awesome.
Good. We all need to learn anyhow. So collaboration. Let's go over this quickly. Why are you laughing? People still need to learn how to be leaders. We can still learn. You're not gonna be the best at it, but we can learn.
That is true. I agree.
Right?
Yes.
So accept various roles and an equitable share of work in a group. Responds positively to the ideas, opinions, values, and traditions of others, builds healthy peer-to-peer relationships in person and through personal and media-assisted interactions, works with others to resolve conflicts and to build consensus to achieve group goals, and shares information, resources, and expertise, and promotes critical thinking to solve problems and make decisions. Again, what I really have to give Ontario credit for is the build of this report card, because really and truly, this is a breakdown of people dealing with life.
Yes.
If you are not able to do this well, most people we dislike aren't able to do all of these things. They don't know how to play their role. They don't know how to respond positively. You know them negative Nancys in the office, ones who are always negative? They can't respond. No one likes you. You can't build healthy peer-to-peer relationships. You don't work well with others to resolve. You cause conflicts. You know them people? This is why this section is so important, okay? So let's talk about how we can work on the home a little bit about collaboration. Then we'll move into self-regulation, because self-regulation is a component of collaboration. If you cannot regulate yourself, this is why people don't like you, okay?
Right.
All right. So was that rough? Jordan, you said
No, that was facts.
Okay. Okay. So collaboration. You've got to model, parents, what you expect, which means, and this could be a sensitive issue, so I'm not going to go into it too much, but sometimes children act out what they see from their parents, even with how their parents talk to each other.
Right.
Again, it's another harsh fact.
It is.
If your child is really acting out, there's something inside that they're feeling, that they're seeing and observing and acting out. And that's just reality, people. We learn from our parents.
Yes.
That's just how it works, right? So we have to, again, with this one, this is another topic altogether. We've got to look within with a lot of this when you're talking with your children, because you've raised them, okay? Group agreements. So natural leaders learning strength. So showing your children or putting your children in front of people who you think are great leaders. We all have our ideas of who's a great leader. Who do you think is a great leader?
Wow.
Past or present? Just pick one.
Past or present?
Past or present.
Marcus Garvey.
All right. I picked Malcolm X. Again, I will never forget the Spike Lee scene when that man pointed and everyone moved. Do you know what type of power that is? That's a leader, bro. Like, if you can point and people move, you don't have to say nothing.
Yeah.
So, but presenting these to our children, letting them see what leadership looks like, that type of like strength.
Right.
It's so motivating, right? Teaching children how to listen. So I'm gonna have to teach some parents, some adults how to listen. This is a huge problem. We don't know how to listen, and I'm not pointing fingers. Everyone goes through it. Sometimes when we have something we need to say, we our brain switches off because we're all into ourselves.
Yes.
We need to learn how to truly listen to other people and take in their perspective, even if it doesn't agree with yours. Agree to disagree.
One of I forget the gentleman's name, but there's a book called The 7 Habits of Success, right? And
Richard Cooley. Robert Cooley?
It may be.
Something like that.
Maybe.
I could be wrong.
Right? Understand to be understood. Right? And it's something that always played out in my mind, even to this day when I'm having my peer-to-peer interactions, right? Understand to be understood.
Yeah, for sure. You're so understanding, Dave. Like, you're one of those people who just like, I get it. You want to kill people. Let's see how we can work this out. Like, that's you. That's Dave. Like,
really? Let's see how we can work this out?
Kind of. You'd be like, let's see how we can work through this together. That's Dave. All of Dave.
So I'm equally as dangerous as you're
no,
trying to say.
No, not saying that. I'm saying that you do, as much as this is like a terrible thing to say, you would have an understanding as to why someone may have done something like that. You'd be like, you listen to their story and be like...
Okay, perfect example, right? So we had a friend of ours that was moving, and of course the movers tried to play a scam, right? And I can understand in that moment why you just want to go ahead and just cut one of them, right? But of course, by means...
Very Jamaican.
But, you know, in the moment I said something else, but still, right? You have that understanding as to why something like that would want to take place. Because of course we had an agreement. Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Right? So you can just imagine how the children feel.
And what they're modeling when they see you
exactly
cutting into people.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta work on that, before I push up the young ones. People get cussed on a regular basis.
No comment.
Anyhow. All right, so we're going to go into more. I want to go into self-regulation a little bit and talk about that. So let's talk about some self-regulation, because what we're kind of talking about talks about, again, controlling self. And
right.
So go ahead.
It is defined as sets own individual goals and monitors progress towards achieving them. Seeks clarification or assistance when needed. This is huge. I feel that a lot of children just do not.
Clam up.
Do not do this.
Nope.
Right? Assesses and reflects critically on own strengths, needs, and interests. Identifies learning opportunities, choices, and strategies to meet personal needs and achieve goals. And perseveres and makes an effort when responding to challenges. This is also huge. we mentioned it before briefly that, you know what, self-regulation by means, if you can't go ahead and regulate yourself, there's no way out whatsoever you can do that with anybody else in regards to especially collaboration, right? Sometimes in regarding self-regulation, especially when dealing with your own emotions, you need a chance, at least a moment to take a step back. Go walk, drink some water, whatever it is you feel like doing. But sometimes you need to step away, right? And
then it's saying that you have to teach your children how to
go ahead and do something like this as well.
Yeah,
right?
Step away from certain things.
Also, once again, I mean, it is pretty much interchangeable, but by means, how is this modeled in the classroom? What happens, you know, what do the teachers do when they feel frustrated in that particular moment?
Yes.
Are they stepping outside of the class, right? Or are they telling everybody to shut up, listen, sit down, right?
Oh, we hear it all. We hear it all.
Right?
We hear it all. It's true. It's very true.
Right? Something to break up the monotony of course, a child's day, right? And I've seen this online the other day where, of course, instead of holding detentions, they had actually meditation time. Right? Where, of course, this would go ahead and actually just go ahead and center the child, right? So instead of course, having by means constantly doing work, carve out a block of time in the classroom. We're not doing anything. We're turning out the lights, right?
Y'all just put your head on your desk. Remember when you had to put your head on your desk when you're younger?
And just take a time. And just take a time out.
I caught so much sleep.
Right.
So much. That's where I learned how to nap, yo, in class. Them dark hours. I never stopped napping since kindergarten.
Never stopped napping.
Never.
That is true. Right. I read in an article that a young lady, she goes running during in the middle of the school day, right?
Okay.
In order for us to go ahead and finish strong and so have that clarity of mind. Right. So by means, you know, these are things that of course that can be done.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Teachers can take a walk. Just get out.
Right.
You know, and leave. Escape.
If you're using tech, there's an app called Smiling Mind, right? Where it actually encourages meditation.
Okay.
Right? It's set on a timer, but by means, and of course, they have the tones going off, right? Do that again?
That's how mine sounds.
That is true, right? But anyways, you know, like it's a time at the times, you know, the tones are going off, and by means, of course, it allows you just to, like, you know what, take a step back, don't do anything, of course, clear that mind in order to go ahead and, of course, tackle the rest of the day, right? What another great thing, of course, once again, a journal, right? A journal is a wonderful way for the child once again to go and express, right? And more importantly, you know what, how they can go ahead and change. Right? Encourage the children once again to ask those type of questions. Foster, of course, that type of open and honest dialogue. And trust me, right? It will take time, but by means, you know what? This is what, of course, villaging, nation building, right? It's all about.
We do. So, listen, I know we weren't able to get through everything. We have no time. We got to wrap it up. We're being told to wrap it up. So, listen, everybody. Jordan's dancing, so this wasn't the wrap up. This is just like you dancing in that case. No, thanks everyone for watching. We appreciate you. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. If you thought this was helpful, share, like, please get this out there. This is important. We're going to be doing more. If you have any requests for shows,
also by means, parents, anybody, educators, everybody, if you have your own best tips, please share.
Post some tips.
Please share. Of course, we need it. We definitely need it.
We're a village. Let's build, everybody. Have a wonderful evening, and we will see you next week.
Peace and love, family.